morning friends, welcome to pre-market update. Friends, what we saw yesterday, markets closed on a positive note. However, we had a choppy session ahead of the today's expiry session, and also because of the big event in US, which is going to decide whether the rate hike might happen or not this week. So because of these two major events, we had a choppy session, although we ended on a positive note. Sensex was up almost 70 points at close at 28,060 level, while Nifty was up 18 points and closed at 8650 levels. Now moving on to the mid cap and small cap indices update, they were performing well and they were up almost 1% during the end of the trading session. Infosys gained up almost 2% yesterday after it bagged an order of $60 million for the GST network rollout. Indian Oil was also in action yesterday as its board is going to meet on 29 to discuss bonus issue. Now, in terms of prominent gainers and losers in Sensex yesterday, prominent gainers in Sensex were Maruti, Cipla, Infosys, NTPC and Reliance Industries, while prominent losers are Tata Steel, Tata Motors, Lupin, Adani Ports. Now moving on to provisional numbers, FIs were sellers to the tune of 39 crore in the cash segment, where DIs were buyers to the tune of 129 crores in cash, buyers of 129 crores in cash segment. Now moving on to global indices update, all the major indices in US were in red. However, Nasdaq was down sharply 0.8%, while S&P was down just 0.5% and Dow was down 0.35%. Now moving on to Asian indices update at this point in time, Nikkei is trading marginally down with losses of 0.3%, while Hang Seng is trading almost flat, while Shanghai is trading in red with losses of around 0.7%. SGX at this point in time is trading marginally up with gains of 17 points, indicating we might open on a flattish to marginally positive kind of note. Now friends, let's have derivative update.
Good morning friends, we'll give analysis on derivatives. In yesterday's trading session, taking mixed cues from the international markets, our market did open on a flattish note, and thereon we did saw Nifty consolidating in a narrow range, and not much of activity was observed in yesterday's trading session also. As in the last few trading sessions, we have been seeing Nifty has been trading in a very tight range and has been it's been in the consolidation zone. And yesterday's trading session also was the same scenario, where Nifty in the middle part of the day nosed in the negative territory, but however it shows some kind of an buying interest over there and managed to close with a minor gain of 0.10%, settling at 8641.75. Now, on the open interest terms, since we have been heading towards the expiry, of course, we do see a lot of addition in the open interest. We have seen a 6% addition in the open interest in Nifty, and the absolute terms 16.74 lakh shares were added in the open interest. Cost of carry, since it's just 2 days left to the expiry, hence we do see such an high cost of carry in the percentage terms. But in the premium terms, the cost of carry is just around 7 to 8 odd points. However, the majority of the addition which was seen was mainly on the longer side, and since it's a rollover activity which do take place in the last two trading sessions, hence we do see a significant amount of addition in the open interest, and it's difficult to judge majority of the addition is a long side or is in the short side. Put call ratio also it's higher by 3 basis points from 0.97 to 1, and volatility index again cooled off and has been at its lower level, and it's cooled off by around 2.5%, settling at 13.90 below 14 odd levels. Now on the option side, not major activity to highlight upon. It's the last trading session, and 8,800 call option and 8,600 put option is the highest in terms of open interest. However, if you see the rollover activity, an interesting observation which was seen in Nifty rollover, already 70% have got rolled over to the next series, and we are still 1 day away from the expiry, and the rollover cost is also decent enough at around 48 odd points. Hence we do feel a majority of the rollover which has been seen in the next series has been on the longer side, and Bank Nifty rollover is also decent enough. It's in line, neither above or below the averages 1 day prior to the expiry. The Bank Nifty rollover is around 48 odd percentage, and the rollover cost is around 818 odd points. However, we do feel long positions are getting carried forward to the next series also. So in today's trading session, in the expiry day, we do feel market could see some kind of a bounce back. We weren't expecting such an Nifty were quite heavy in terms of open interest, and in this heavy also market participants have rolled over the next series also. That is, majority of the position which was there in the market was on the longer side, and the long have got carried forward. So We do expect today's trading session be on the higher side, and market could Nifty could expire anywhere above 8,700 or at around 8,700, or if it also expires above 8,700, it won't be a bit surprise one. There are 5 securities in buying period for today's trade, that is Indiabulls Real Estate, IDBI, India Cements, Jindal Steel and JP Associates. On the FIS trumps in index futures, they were net sellers by 255 odd crores, index options net buyers by 1100 odd crores, stock futures net buyers by 372 crores, and stock options net sellers by 83 crores only. On the market level, our 5 days wave stands at 8650 with a lower range at 8650 and higher range at 8700. SX Nifty is trading positive, it's around up by 20 odd points and it's quoting at 8675, indicating some kind of a positive opening can be expected in the morning trade. That's it from derivatives. Thank you.
Now friends, let's discuss trading ideas for the day. First trading idea for the day is SP Apparels at current market price of 308. Company posted a strong set of numbers both on top line and bottom line in front. Net profit jumps to 16.4 crore versus last year's figure of 6 crore, and total income jumped 33% to 162.4 crores. So action to be taken is long SP Apparels. Stop loss is placed at 301. We'll be targeting levels of 318 and 324. Next idea for the day is PNC Infratech at current market price of 121. PNC Infratech meets its market estimate numbers. It posts a profit of around almost 165 crore on EBITDA level, and almost margin expanded to 24.2% versus last year's figure of 19.3%. So all in all, strong set of numbers for PNC Infratech. Action to be taken is long PNC Infratech. Stop loss is placed at 118. And we'll be targeting levels of 126 and 130. Now friends, moving on to news update front. Infinite Computers board is going to meet to discuss buyback for around 150 crore, and maximum price would be at around 250 per share. IDBI Bank is looking to raise around 500 crores via NSE stock sale. And K Energy board to meet on August 27 to consider issue of securities. Zydus Cadila recalls around 2 lakh bottles of anti-depressant drug in US. Further on news update front, India to resume normal rainfalls, not surplus as La Nina chances fade. Power tariffs to rise as freight rates have been hiked. TCS settles Orange County lawsuit for $26 million. Stride Sharekhan gets US FDA nod for ranitidine tablets. NBCC plans to build on business with Hindustan Steel Works acquisition. SBI looking to raise around 11,000 crores via 80-1 bonds. Prestige Estates hired JP Morgan for fundraising exercise. Orient Green Power exploring options to raise around $100 million. Shriram Group's renewable energy arm looks to raise fund as per sources. Stampede Capital also looking to raise funds via equity GDR and ADR, and is looking for shareholders not for the same. MCX to increase stake in MSEI from current levels of 3.99 to 14.99%. MCX also settles an out-of-court settlement over warrant dispute with MSEI. IKEA to continue business collaboration with Welspun. IKEA awaits outcome of Welspun probe into sale practices. Cabinet approves revised DTAA with Cyprus. Cabinet also approves rail projects for 24,374 crore in 9 states. Further on the news update front, Eicher Motor increases price of its Royal Enfield bikes by 1%. Godrej Consumer Products expands into the household insecticides category. M&M plans to launch around 20 new vehicles 20 new commercial vehicles over next 2 to 3 years, and plans to increase double its market share. Titan Biotech seeks shareholder not to consider proposal for preference issue of equity shares. Now friends, moving on to stocks for investments. Stocks for investment which can be suggested to long-term investors: Reliance at 1020, HDFC at 1383, Euromotor Corp at 3311, SBI at 254, and Sun Pharma at 770. Friends, that's all from Advisory Desk. Have a wonderful day ahead.